Good morning, Facebook Live. I'm just going to rearrange a few things here. Let's see, we're going to do a test here. Now you're looking at my counter. Now you're looking at me. Excellent. Awesome. So good morning. My name is Rob Meyer-Kukan from 7 Notes Natural Health. I'm coming to you from my kitchen once again. Today I am going to talk about bone broth. Bone broth is huge. Bone broth is super important. It's something that we talk about a lot. It's probably something that you've seen and heard about. And so I want to show you how to make bone broth and then talk about the benefits. So I have, I'm going to turn the camera around here in just a second, but I have my Instant Pot. I love making bone broth in the Instapot or Instant Pot because it's quick, comparatively speaking, and we'll talk about that too. So I have my Instant Pot heated up. I've already taken a scoop of organic coconut oil. We have these big spoons in our set. It's probably a little bit more than a tablespoon, like a tablespoon and a half-ish. And so I'm going to demonstrate today beef bone broth. So I'm going to turn this around. So in our Instant Pot, we have some coconut oil, just so that things don't stick. And then we have here some bones that we got from Whole Foods. And you can get your bones from anywhere that you like or that you want to get them. I'm going to just wash my hands here before I start handling this wonderful stuff. So we just went to the meat counter and said, hey, do you have any bones? And they just so happened to, at the time we were there, they were just actually cutting the bones. So we lucked out and got some freshly packaged. So let's go back here now. The bones, here we are. So these are beef bones, and we're going to take these guys and put them right into the Instant Pot. We're going to put both of them in. I'm just going to turn them over, and we're going to kind of let them cook. We're going to let them brown. The nice thing is there's a little bit of meat still left on them. So that's going to kind of cook up a little bit as well. So I'm just going to give a quick wash to my hands again. So we've got those bones started. We're going to let them cook and simmer and just kind of brown up a little bit. You'll see, if I can get the camera right, just the amazing little brownness that's kind of caramelizing and forming in the bottom of the Instant Pot little liner here. Amazing, amazing, amazing. It's going to add so much flavor. So we're going to let that cook. And while that's cooking, I'm going to give you sort of the quick overview of what the rest of the recipe is like. So you put the bone in, you cook it a little while, you let it get brown, you let it get crispy. You can put any number of seasonings based on the type of broth you're making, whether you're making lamb bone broth or you're making beef bone broth, you're making chicken bone broth. You can use the seasoning that you like. One that's really great as just a generic choice is bay leaf. Of course, salt and pepper to your choice and your discretion. You can add those in at any point as well. For some reason, I don't have power to my Instant Pot, which is going to make this difficult to cook. So let me just, first world problems, right? Well, we may be doing just a we'll roll with it. We'll do sort of the television version. So to the Instant Pot, then once your bones are cooked a little bit, nice and caramelized, what you're going to want to do is add any extra seasonings that you're going to want to add. To this batch, I'm going to add some of these amazing chaga mushrooms that my friend Morgan from school gave to me. Salt and pepper if you want, any type of seasoning, and then you'll want to consider adding in some veggies. So this is a great way to use up the peelings of things that you're using to prepare for your meals, or you're slicing an onion and you have a little bit left over or something like that. Go ahead and throw those in, let them cook as well, and with the bones, and then what you'll do after that is you'll add the water to it. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my plugs in the kitchen aren't working right now. So I will wait until we can get electricity back to that and actually finish the cooking. But then you're gonna add water, and for whatever pot or device you're using, whether you're doing this in a crock pot or doing it on the stove, you're gonna wanna fill it to the appropriate fill line for that pot or device. You always want to use filtered water. We are lucky enough to have a Berkey water filter, so we use filtered water. And then on your Instant Pot, you're going to use the soup or broth function, and you're going to set it for 4 hours. So that's what I mean by the Instant Pot is super fast. It's really great because when you're making bone broth, in order to really get all of the nutrients and all of the stuff that you want out of the bones, you have to let it cook for a long time. We're talking like 2 days here, a minimum of 20 to 24 hours. Steady, slow simmer on your stove or in a crock pot. So the Instant Pot is a really great tool for that because it cuts down the cooking time. Because of the pressure involved with the way that it cooks, it cuts down the cooking time, and you can get bone broth in 4 hours, which is fantastic. So steps to do after you're done. So say you've cooked it on the stove or in your crock pot on your countertop, kind of simmering slowly for 20, 24 hours, 2 days-ish. The longer the better. The step after that is to let it cool so that it is safe to handle. You're going to want to filter it. So we just use like a sieve, but you could use cheesecloth if you'd like. We use just a mesh metal sieve that we use like for cooking or sifting flour, that type of a thing. And then you'll strain it. You'll refrigerate it, or you'll use it for cooking. And you want to either use it within a week, it'll stay good in your fridge for a week, or you want to freeze it for use later. So what are some things that you can do with bone broth? Well, you can drink it straight up. You can take it sort of medicinally, just drinking it, or taking it like a soup. You can cook your grains with it, so it adds an amazing dimension, extra layer of flavor if you cook your farro or quinoa, rice, that type of stuff with a rich, amazing broth, bone broth. You can, of course, use it to make soups, or you can use it in your recipes for any type of liquid that they ask for. So if it calls for, add water, you can add the broth, and it adds that other layer, that dimension of flavor. Plus, it also adds all of the good things that we're going to talk about in just a moment. So what to do with it once it's done. So storing it can be can be interesting because it's liquid. So if you have canning jars and you're going to use it right away, keep it in your canning jars in your refrigerator. No need to go through the whole canning process. You're just going to store it in there. So anything that's airtight is good. You can use Ziploc bags, but bags are a little problematic because it's a liquid and it's kind of wonky, and then it's sort of flopping around in your freezer or refrigerator. We have tried and we have done some research on it, and we understand that there are certain canning jars that you can freeze in. You want to make sure to fill them only about 2/3 of the way to allow for expansion. We have not had good luck with that. Apparently we didn't have the right type of jars, but you live and learn, right? So we are currently researching the best tools for freezing our broth. Right now what we do is we freeze in Ziploc bags, and we have sort of these weird shaped things in our freezer that we work. It's not ideal, but it does work. So you want to make sure, a couple of tips. You want to make sure that you're always using all organic, non-GMO, grain-fed, humanely raised animals if you're using meat as your base for your stock, of course. Get to know your farmers or vendors, or join your local CSA, your community supported agriculture, or a farm share, or a community garden, that type of a thing. I'm specifically talking this morning about beef bone broth, and I started to show you a little bit about how to do that. But you can, of course, do this with chicken. You can do this with turkey. It's very much so the same for chicken and turkey. You're just going to debone your bird after cooking the whole bird, and then just take anything that's left, the skin, the drippings, the bones, any extra meat. If you've got a neck or any internal organs, cook those in a separate container while you're cooking your chicken or your turkey. They won't need to cook as long as the full bird. Put those into the pot. Your extra scraps of vegetables, put them in. Again, add your filtered water and then cook away. You can also make just a veggie broth with the classic base, the mirepoix of carrots, celery, and onions sauteed, and then add to it mushrooms. Some amazing chaga mushrooms would be great, or any type of peelings. Like Thanksgiving is the perfect time to make bone broth because you've got all of the stuff. So the peelings from the potatoes, the ends of the onions, that type of a thing. Let's see, what else? Onion and garlic broth is fantastic. So you just take your onions and your garlic, cut them in half or quarter them, throw them right in with your oil, let them get brown and nice and caramelized, put your water in, and then simmer away. Awesome, 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 amazing benefits with onion and garlic broth, and super rich flavor. It's a really great thing to have as an ingredient to add to another recipe. So, benefits. So bone broth is rich and full in nutrients and vitamins. So you could run the list of vitamins, you could run the list of nutrients. You're going to get them. Particularly, it's great because you're getting the amazing nutrients from the marrow of the bone, right? So our bones are these amazing powerhouses that store all of these awesome things that we're hopefully getting from our food, right? And so when you cook them and then infuse the water with it, basically is what you're doing for simmering for so long, you're then able to take that in. It's nice because it's in a liquid form, so it's already sort of started the digestion process. You don't have to break it down like you do if you have solid food, which is really wonderful. Of course, it's rich in collagen. Bone marrow has in it iron, vitamin A and K, essential fatty acids, selenium, zinc, manganese, among the nutrients that are in the bone marrow alone. Of course, then, rich in amino acids. And then one of the reasons I'm super passionate about bone broth is because it has tremendous benefits for supporting healthy gut function. And gut function is where it's at. You've read the books, you've seen the podcast or listened to the podcast, you've seen the YouTube videos about the gut being your second brain and the importance of the gut. Everything stems from the gut. If your gut is in alignment, you will have excellent, of course, digestion and processing of the food that you're eating, the good food that you're eating. But you will also have less inflammation. It'll help your allergies, and they're on and on and on and on. There's so many amazing benefits to keeping your gut healthy, and bone broth is key for supporting your gut health. Not just because of all of the nutrients and benefits that I've talked about, but there's this sort of emotional side of it too, this very comforting thing of eating soup, right? It's like the quintessential when you're sick, your loved one brings you some soup to care for you. It's kind of like a great big warm hug, right? It's helpful also because the main ingredient, other than the thing that you're cooking in here, is water, and water is so important. So it's hydrating, which I think is something that a lot of times we look over when we're talking about the benefits of bone broth, because we get so wrapped up in the vitamins and nutrients and collagen and all of those things. At the very basic, you've got just the hydration that is coming from the broth as well. So that's your quick overview, the quick sort of 1-2. I'm sorry we're having weird issues with our plug and not able to show you the full process. But I'll take some pictures along the way here as we get this kind of rolling again, and I'll post them in the comments. If you have any questions about bone broth, if you have any questions about how-to or recipes, I will also put some recipes, sort of quick Rob step-by-step recipes for making bone broth in the comments below. There are some recipes that call for using vinegar and other things like this. I keep it simple, just with the elements that we're trying to make the broth from and water. I try to keep it really simple. So thanks for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. Try some bone broth. If you have an Instant Pot, it's super easy. If you have a crock pot, it's just as easy. If you have a stove, it's just as easy. It just takes a little bit longer. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.